Do you know that one glass of juice, yes, that same healthy drink sitting in your fridge right now, could quietly raise your risk of a stroke overnight? No warning, no pain, no second chance. You go to bed feeling fine, and by morning your speech is slurred, your balance is gone, or one side of your body doesn't move. Most people think strokes come from smoking, high fat foods, or lack of exercise. But as a brain doctor, I can tell you something shocking. For millions of older Americans, the danger is hiding in their glass, not their plate. It's the juice they drink every morning, believing it keeps them young. Orange juice, grape juice, pineapple, even apple. The very drinks sold as heart healthy may in reality be slowly thickening your blood, stressing your arteries, and forming the tiny clots that can shut down your brain in seconds. If you're over 60, your body doesn't process sugar, acid, or medication the same way it used to. What once healed can now harm. And in this video, I'm going to reveal 7 common juices that could quietly be putting your brain at risk, and how to protect yourself before it's too late. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Orange juice. The classic culprit. If you're over 60, there's a good chance you start your morning the same way millions of Americans do, with a bright golden glass of orange juice. It feels wholesome, refreshing, even medicinal. After all, you've heard it all your life. A glass of OJ a day keeps you healthy and strong. But what if that very glass, that sweet and familiar taste of morning, is quietly setting the stage for a stroke while you sleep? As a brain doctor, I've seen this story unfold too many times. Older adults who believed they were doing everything right, walking daily, eating balanced meals, taking their medications faithfully, only to wake up one morning with slurred speech, dizziness, or one side of their body frozen. Their scans show a blood clot blocking the brain's blood flow. No trauma, no warning, just a sudden silence in the body's most vital command center. And when we look closer, one common habit keeps appearing: daily fruit juice, especially orange juice. Here's the reality that few doctors ever explain. Orange juice is not the same as an orange. Once you remove the fiber, what's left is liquid sugar. Just one glass can flood your bloodstream with over 20 grams of sugar, as much as some sodas. For an aging body, that sugar rush is more than a number. It sends your insulin soaring, thickens your blood, and inflames the delicate lining of your arteries. The very vessels that feed your heart and brain. Over time, that inflammation makes those vessels rigid and brittle. And when sugar spikes repeatedly, your blood becomes stickier, the perfect breeding ground for clots. Those clots don't always strike right away. They sit, waiting, until one day, under the quiet of night, one travels to your brain and it triggers a stroke, a blockage that shuts down oxygen in seconds. But sugar isn't the only hidden danger in your morning glass. Oranges and their cousins, like grapefruit, contain powerful natural chemicals called furanocoumarins. Most people have never heard of them, yet they can drastically interfere with how your liver processes medication. If you're taking blood pressure pills, statins for cholesterol, or blood thinners, these compounds can slow your liver's ability to break them down. The result? Your medicine lingers in your bloodstream longer, becoming stronger than intended. Blood pressure can drop too low. The heart can misfire. Or worse, when blood thinners become overactive, they disrupt the fragile balance of clotting, leading to small, unpredictable clots or bleeds that can strike your brain without a sound. It's heartbreaking, because these strokes don't come from carelessness. They come from good intentions, from seniors who believe they're choosing health. I remember a patient, Mr. Delaney, 78 years old. Every morning for 20 years, he began his day with a tall glass of orange juice and his pills. One morning, his wife found him on the floor, unable to speak. The scans told the story: a small clot in the right hemisphere of his brain. His blood work revealed soaring sugar and medication buildup. The healthy habit that gave him energy had been quietly turning against him for years. After 60, your body changes, your liver slows, your blood thickens faster, your brain's vessels become more fragile. What used to heal can now harm if it's not matched to your age. That's why I tell my patients, if you truly love orange juice, treat it as a flavor, not a drink. A few sips with breakfast, not a full glass. Or better yet, squeeze a wedge into water for a hint of citrus without the flood of sugar. Because that innocent glass, that daily comfort can, under the right conditions, form blood clots, trigger strokes, and steal away everything you've worked to protect: your speech, your balance, your independence. And if that shocks you, wait until you hear what the next healthy juice, one even more popular among American seniors, can do to your brain's arteries. It's sweet, dark, and sold as heart healthy, but it may be silently pushing you closer to the edge. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Grape juice, sugar in disguise. If you're over 60, you've probably poured yourself a glass of grape juice believing it's one of the healthiest choices you can make. You've seen the commercials: rich in antioxidants, good for your heart, pure from nature. Maybe it reminds you of your younger days, sitting at the breakfast table with your kids, or sharing a toast at Sunday brunch. But what if I told you that same comforting glass, that deep purple sweetness, could be quietly laying the groundwork for a stroke, not years from now, but overnight? Here's the truth most seniors never hear. Grape juice is liquid sugar with a halo. It may come from fruit, but your body doesn't see it as fruit. Without the fiber of a whole grape to slow digestion, that sugar rushes straight into your bloodstream. Just 1 cup of store-bought grape juice can contain 35 to 40 grams of sugar, the equivalent of swallowing 10 teaspoons of pure glucose. For an aging body, that sudden flood isn't harmless. It's a shock. When blood sugar spikes this quickly, your arteries, especially the small, fragile ones that feed your brain, react defensively. The inner lining, called the endothelium, becomes inflamed. It stiffens, it narrows, and microscopic cracks begin to form. That's when the body's emergency system kicks in, releasing platelets to patch the damage. It's a protective move, but in doing so, it forms blood clots, tiny plugs meant to heal. The problem is, in an older brain where circulation is already slower, those clots don't always dissolve. They linger, waiting for the wrong moment. And when one breaks free, it travels upward and it triggers a stroke, cutting off blood flow to brain tissue that dies within minutes. You won't feel it happening. You might just feel lightheaded, tired, maybe a little off. But inside, the pressure builds quietly. Your vessels are fighting to push thickened blood through narrow pathways, and every surge of sugar makes it worse. And for those who are already taking medications, especially blood pressure pills, insulin, or diuretics, that sugar surge doesn't work alone. It interacts. It can spike your glucose, drop your pressure, and disrupt the rhythm of your heart in the same night. I remember one patient vividly, Mrs. Jeanette Morris, 79, from Missouri. She was careful about her diet, avoided soda, stayed active. Her one daily treat was a glass of grape juice mid-morning. It's my antioxidant boost, she used to tell me. One morning, she called her daughter in a panic. Her speech was slurred. Her right hand wouldn't move properly. The hospital scans confirmed it, a transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke caused by a clot briefly blocking blood flow to her brain. Her blood sugar had surged, her insulin spiked, and her arteries reacted with inflammation, all from a habit she thought was healthy. It's hard to face, but as we age, the same foods that once protected us can turn against us. After 60, the pancreas slows, the arteries stiffen, and the brain's vessels can't handle violent sugar swings. It's not about punishment, it's about biology. Grape juice gives you a short burst of sweetness, but leaves behind a trail of inflammation, thickened blood, and overworked vessels that can betray you in the quiet hours of the night. If you love that flavor, you don't have to give it up completely, but dilute it heavily with water, pair it with protein, and never drink it alone or on an empty stomach. Most importantly, don't sip it before bed, because while you sleep, your circulation slows, your blood thickens, and that's when silent clots are most likely to strike. You see, what feels like a harmless comfort can, over time, quietly steal your balance, your clarity, even your independence. And if this truth about grape juice shocked you, wait until you hear about the next drink, one that seems tropical, refreshing, and even cleansing, yet hides a chemical reaction that could make your blood dangerously unstable. 3. Pineapple juice, the acid trap. There's something about pineapple juice that feels like pure sunshine. It's sweet, tropical, full of life, a symbol of good health and joy. Many older adults reach for it believing it's a light drink, good for digestion, packed with vitamin C, a natural anti-inflammatory. It feels innocent, even healing. But the truth I've seen again and again in my years as a brain doctor is far more unsettling. For adults over 60, that golden glass can quietly set off a chain reaction that forms blood clots, disrupts circulation, and under the wrong circumstances, triggers a stroke in the middle of the night. Here's how it happens. Pineapple juice contains a powerful enzyme called bromelain. In small amounts, bromelain can help with digestion. But when consumed regularly or in larger doses, especially in juice form, it can alter the way your blood clots. Bromelain thins the blood by reducing platelet activity, which might sound like a good thing for the heart. Yet, when it combines with common medications like aspirin, warfarin, or clopidogrel, drugs that already thin the blood, the result can be dangerous. Your blood becomes too thin to clot properly, or paradoxically, clots can form unpredictably when the delicate balance of your circulatory system is disturbed. Either way, your brain is caught in the crossfire. That's not the only danger. Pineapple juice is also extremely acidic and high in sugar, two things the aging body struggles to manage. With age, the valve between your esophagus and stomach weakens, and stomach acid can rise at night, especially if you drink pineapple juice after dinner. Many seniors experience silent reflux, acid creeping up the throat without the typical burning pain that acid can enter the airways and reduce oxygen levels during sleep. The brain, already vulnerable to drops in oxygen, reacts sharply. It triggers inflammation in blood vessels, constriction in arteries, and small clots begin to form as the body tries to protect itself. It's a hidden storm, sugar spikes, acid irritation, and blood chemistry shifts happening while you rest. And by morning, the damage may already be done. I remember a woman named Clara Hughes, 77, a retired choir director who loved her evening ritual, a small glass of pineapple juice after dinner. "It helps me digest," she said proudly. But one morning, Clara's daughter found her on the kitchen floor, unable to stand. her words slurred. At the hospital, we discovered a small stroke in the back of her brain, the area that controls balance and coordination. Her lab showed mild dehydration, elevated sugar, and signs of blood irregularity from her combination of medications and nightly pineapple juice. That glass she thought was harmless had quietly been tipping her blood chemistry into chaos for months. For older adults, digestion slows, liver enzymes weaken, and blood vessels lose elasticity. Add a drink that floods the bloodstream with sugar, acid, and clot altering enzymes, and it becomes a dangerous mix. Pineapple juice taken late in the day is especially risky. It raises blood sugar at a time when the body isn't burning energy, and its acidity disrupts the natural rhythm of sleep and circulation. It doesn't happen overnight until one night it does. So if you enjoy pineapple, enjoy it early in the day. Never drink it before bed. And if you take blood thinning or heart medications, talk to your doctor before making it a daily habit. Your body now walks a fine line between balance and breakdown, and even a small drink can tip the scale. Because that taste of paradise might not be refreshing your brain at all. It might be quietly tightening your arteries and setting the stage for the next silent danger. A juice that looks pure and harmless, but can dry out your bloodstream, thicken your blood, and trigger a stroke before sunrise. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Watermelon juice, the hydration deception. There's hardly a fruit that feels more American in summer than watermelon. Cold slices on the 4th of July, a pitcher of pink juice by the porch, grandkids laughing as the sun sets. It's a symbol of joy, simplicity, and health. For many older adults, watermelon juice feels like nature's hydration, a safe way to stay refreshed without guilt. But here's the hard truth that most seniors don't realize. That same glass of watermelon juice, especially in the evening, can quietly drain your body of the very fluid your brain needs to stay alive. And under the right conditions, it thickens your blood, forms clots, and triggers strokes. Not years from now, but sometimes overnight. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? How could something that's 90% water make you dehydrated? The answer lies in how watermelon, especially its juice, interacts with an aging body. Watermelon is a natural diuretic. It contains compounds like citrulline and lycopene that stimulate the kidneys and increase urine production. For a young, healthy person, that's no big deal. But when you're over 60, and especially if you're on water pills, diuretics, or blood pressure medication, that extra push to the kidneys can quietly drain too much fluid from your body. At night, when your body slows down and you're not replenishing fluids, this can lead to subtle but dangerous dehydration. You don't feel thirsty. You just wake up with a dry mouth, a heavy head, maybe a little dizziness when you stand. But what's really happening inside your body is far more serious. When you lose too much water, your blood becomes thicker, more viscous, like syrup trying to flow through fragile, narrow pipes. For the brain, which depends on steady oxygen-rich blood flow, this is a crisis waiting to happen. That thicker blood moves slowly, clots form more easily, and when circulation dips during the night, a clot can lodge in a tiny artery and trigger a stroke before morning. I remember a man named Howard Larkin, 82, a retired mail carrier from Indiana. He was strong, sharp, still mowed his own lawn. Every evening after dinner, he'd drink 2 tall glasses of watermelon juice to keep hydrated. He was also on a mild water pill for his heart. One morning, his wife found him collapsed beside the bed. He was conscious but couldn't move his left arm or leg. The scans confirmed it, a small ischemic stroke. His blood work showed dehydration, concentrated red cells, and thickened blood. The classic signature of a body drained of fluid overnight. The very drink he believed kept him safe had quietly pushed him into imbalance. As we age, our bodies don't regulate water the same way. The thirst signal weakens, kidney function slows, and medications often tip that balance further. When you add a natural diuretic like watermelon juice, it can push your system beyond safety without you even knowing. It's not about fear, it's about understanding that hydration is not just about liquid, it's about balance. If you love watermelon, enjoy it in moderation. A few slices in the morning, not a glass of juice at night. Pair it with a pinch of sea salt or coconut water to replace electrolytes, and talk to your doctor if you're on diuretics or heart medication. You're not fragile. You just need to stay one step ahead of what your body can no longer handle automatically. Because the next healthy juice we need to talk about is one that nearly every American senior has in their refrigerator, bright, citrusy, and trusted for decades. But inside that innocent glass hides a chemical reaction that could quietly make your medications turn toxic and your arteries tighten without warning. 5. Cranberry juice, the medication trap. For decades, cranberry juice has been a trusted staple in American households, especially among older adults. It's marketed as the urinary health drink, the go-to remedy to prevent infections, a source of antioxidants, a harmless daily habit. Many seniors keep a bottle in the refrigerator believing it's one of the safest choices they can make. But what most people over 60 don't realize is that this seemingly innocent juice carries a hidden danger, one that has nothing to do with infection and everything to do with the delicate balance of your blood, your medications, and your brain's fragile arteries. Cranberry juice can quietly interfere with the way your body processes medication, particularly blood thinners. And when the dose of a blood thinner shifts even slightly, the consequences can be life changing. I've seen it happen in ways that break your heart. As we age, the liver slows down. It cannot filter and metabolize drugs the way it used to. That alone makes medication management more complicated. But cranberry juice adds another layer of risk. Certain compounds in cranberries, natural chemicals that seem harmless, can alter the liver enzymes responsible for breaking down blood thinning drugs. If you're taking medications like warfarin, rivaroxaban, or even a daily aspirin, cranberry juice can make your blood thinner than intended. And here's the frightening paradox. When blood becomes too thin, it doesn't simply leak. Sometimes it reacts unpredictably. The body senses the imbalance, tries to compensate, and in that confused tug of war, it forms blood clots in places it shouldn't. Those clots drift silently through the bloodstream until one lodges in a vessel inside the brain. Within seconds, it triggers a stroke, a sudden shutdown of oxygen and function. The most terrifying part is that the senior drinking cranberry juice rarely feels anything is wrong. There's no pain, no warning sign, just a quiet shift happening inside the bloodstream. One day, everything is fine. The next, the world tilts the moment they try to stand. I once treated a woman named Margaret, 81, a retired school librarian. She was responsible, careful, the kind of person who followed every doctor's instruction. She took a blood thinner after a past heart issue and drank a small glass of cranberry juice each night to stay healthy. To her, it felt like a gentle act of self-care. But her liver couldn't keep up. The cranberry compound slowed the breakdown of her medication, and her blood became dangerously unstable. One early morning, she woke up dizzy, unable to speak clearly. The scan showed a clot blocking blood flow to her left brain. Her routine, her attempt to stay well, had quietly set the stage for a medical emergency. For older adults, this is the danger hidden inside cranberry juice. It appears pure, natural, even medicinal, yet it can push the aging body into imbalance without a single outward sign. If you're taking blood thinners or even medications processed by the liver, you must treat cranberry juice not as a casual drink, but as something with real physiological impact. Moderation matters, timing matters, and understanding your medications matters most of all. Because while cranberry juice can quietly alter your blood from the inside, the next juice on this list carries a different kind of threat, one that sneaks in through sugar, acidity, and nighttime misfires in the cardiovascular system, creating a perfect storm that many seniors never see coming. 6. Apple juice, the hidden sugar trap. For most of us, apple juice feels like the purest symbol of health. It's what we gave our children when they were sick, what's served in hospitals and senior centers, and what many older Americans drink daily believing it's gentle and wholesome. You've heard it your entire life. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. But what if that same apple, once turned into juice, becomes something entirely different? A silent trigger that thickens your blood, inflames your arteries, and under the wrong conditions, forms blood clots that trigger strokes in the very organ that defines who you are, your brain. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Apple juice is not the same as an apple. Once the skin and fiber are stripped away, what remains is almost entirely sugar, primarily fructose and glucose, delivered straight into your bloodstream with no natural breaks to slow it down. Just one small glass can deliver nearly 30 grams of sugar. For an aging body, that sudden flood is a shock to the system. Your insulin surges, your blood thickens, and your arteries respond with inflammation. Over time, that inflammation becomes chronic. It erodes the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, the endothelium, making it rough and sticky. And when your blood meets that damaged surface, it begins to clot. Those microscopic clots, born from something as innocent as juice, don't always dissolve. Sometimes they travel upward into the narrow vessels of your brain, where one can suddenly trigger a stroke, cutting off oxygen in a matter of seconds. You might not notice the early warning signs. Maybe you feel dizzy in the mornings, lightheaded after meals, or more tired than usual. But inside, your body is fighting invisible battles. The sugar spikes are forcing your arteries to expand and contract, until they grow stiff and brittle. The blood flow to your brain becomes less steady, your balance less certain, and your memory just a little more fragile. This isn't fiction, it's physiology. The aging brain depends on stability, not spikes. It thrives on smooth, even circulation. And apple juice, with its rapid sugar delivery, does the opposite. I once treated a woman named Louise Hammond, 81, from Pennsylvania. She was sharp, independent, and proud of her healthy habits. Every afternoon, she'd pour herself a tall glass of cold apple juice. Better than soda, she'd say. One evening, while preparing dinner, she suddenly couldn't find her words. She knew what she wanted to say, but her mouth wouldn't cooperate. The CT scan told the story. A small clot had blocked blood flow to her left temporal lobe, the speech center of her brain. Her lab results showed wildly fluctuating blood sugar and early signs of vessel inflammation. The culprit wasn't alcohol, fat, or smoking. It was her daily healthy drink. What most seniors don't realize is that as the body ages, sugar becomes a more potent toxin. Your metabolism slows, your pancreas weakens, and your blood vessels lose the elasticity they once had. What your body handled effortlessly at 40 now overwhelms it at 70. Drinking apple juice, especially on an empty stomach or at night, delivers a sugar shock your circulation can't easily recover from. It thickens your blood just enough to make clots more likely, especially when hydration dips during sleep. If you truly love apples, eat the fruit, not the juice. Choose tart varieties like Granny Smith, where the fiber and skin slow digestion and protect your blood vessels. Pair it with protein, a handful of almonds, or a slice of cheese to soften the sugar's impact. And most importantly, avoid sweet juices before bed. Your brain doesn't need sweetness to rest, it needs balance. Because while apple juice looks harmless, clear, golden, familiar, it can quietly erode your body's most fragile network, the arteries that keep your brain alive. And if that worries you, it should. But brace yourself, because the next juice on this list doesn't just spike your sugar, it thins your blood too much, pushing you from one danger into another. It's small, dark, and loved for its sweetness. Yet, it might be the one that makes your blood too unstable to survive the night. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 7. 7. Cherry juice, the silent blood thinner. There's something comforting about cherry juice. It's rich, smooth, and sweet, the kind of drink that feels indulgent yet healthy. You've seen it in health magazines and on grocery shelves labeled for heart health, for joint pain, for better sleep. Many older adults drink it daily, believing it's nature's anti-inflammatory medicine, a simple way to stay young and strong. But what most people don't realize is that beneath that dark red glow lies a dangerous secret. For adults over 60, cherry juice can quietly push your blood chemistry out of balance, thinning it too much, making your vessels fragile, and under the right conditions, it forms blood clots or triggers strokes that no one ever sees coming. Here's what's really happening. Cherries, and the juice made from them, contain a natural chemical called salicylate. It's the same active compound found in aspirin. In small doses, salicylates help prevent inflammation and can reduce pain. But for seniors who already take blood-thinning medications, warfarin, clopidogrel, or even a daily baby aspirin, that extra dose of salicylate from cherry juice can quietly tip your system into danger. Your blood becomes too thin to form proper clots when you need them. The tiny vessels in your brain, already fragile with age, can rupture under even mild pressure, leading to hemorrhagic strokes, the most unpredictable and deadly kind. At first, the signs are subtle, maybe easy bruising, more nosebleeds, or a sense of lightheadedness. But inside, your blood's clotting factors are unbalanced. Your platelets, the tiny cells that help stop bleeding, can't do their job efficiently. Your brain depends on precise circulation. Even small fluctuations in blood consistency can wreak havoc. And when blood flow becomes unstable, too thin in some areas, too thick in others, the body tries to compensate. That's when microclots begin to form, small sticky patches meant to plug leaks in weakened vessels. These clots may start harmlessly, but can travel through the bloodstream until one lodges in a cerebral artery. In that moment, oxygen stops, brain cells die, and a stroke begins. I once treated a man named Daniel Rhodes, 84, a retired train conductor from Illinois. He'd been taking low-dose aspirin for years on his doctor's advice. When he developed arthritis, he started drinking tart cherry juice every evening. For the inflammation, he told me. It worked, or so he thought. Then one morning, he woke up dizzy and nauseous. Within minutes, he couldn't move his right arm. A CT scan revealed a small brain bleed, a hemorrhagic stroke. His blood test showed dangerously low clotting factors. It wasn't his medication that changed, it was the combination. The cherry juice had silently amplified the effects of his aspirin, pushing his blood into a state his body couldn't control. This is the kind of tragedy I see far too often, not from neglect but from good intentions.
Seniors trying to do everything right, adding natural remedies to their daily routines, unaware that nature can be as potent as any pill. The aging body isn't forgiving. The liver clears toxins more slowly. The vessels lose elasticity. The brain, always hungry for oxygen, becomes more vulnerable to even brief interruptions in blood flow. And when blood becomes unstable, too thin, too inconsistent, it takes only a few seconds for everything to change. If you drink cherry juice, take it with caution. A few sips once in a while are fine, but never as a daily ritual. And never if you're on any medication that affects clotting. Your goal isn't to have thinner blood, it's to have balanced blood, because at this stage of life, stability is survival. And if that thought makes you uneasy, it should, because there's one more truth you need to hear. It's not just one drink or one fruit that decides your fate. It's the combination of all your habits, your sugar, your timing, your medications, your awareness, that determines whether your brain stays sharp or silently slips into danger. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next could be the key to protecting everything you've worked your whole life to preserve. The truth about juice, aging, and protecting your brain. If you've made it this far, take a deep breath, because what you've just heard isn't meant to frighten you, but to awaken you. The truth is, aging changes everything. The same body that once processed sugar, vitamins, and medications effortlessly now works harder to keep balance. Your liver filters slower. Your kidneys remove waste less efficiently. Your blood vessels, once flexible and strong, become fragile and stiff with time. And your brain, the most delicate organ of all, becomes acutely sensitive to even the smallest changes in blood flow, sugar, or oxygen. That means every glass you drink matters more now than it ever did before. What you believed was healthy, orange juice, apple juice, even cherry juice, may no longer serve you the way it once did. These drinks can raise your blood sugar, thicken or thin your blood unpredictably, or quietly interact with the very medications keeping you alive. And when that balance is lost, it forms blood clots, it triggers strokes, and it can steal your clarity, your memory, or your independence in a single silent moment. But here's the good news: awareness is power. You don't have to give up the joy of sweetness. You just have to enjoy it wisely. Choose whole fruits over juice. Dilute any juice with water. Drink earlier in the day, not at night. Pair natural sugars with protein or fiber. Most importantly, talk to your doctor about every supplement, every drink, every medication you take. Because at this stage of life, health isn't about doing more. It's about understanding more. Your choices, even the smallest ones, have the power to protect your mind and extend your years. And remember, your brain is always listening. Every sip, every bite, every habit is a message. Make sure yours says, I'm still here, I'm still strong, I'm choosing to live wisely. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.